And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, it is Sunday. I'm still a little tired. Little first week of school hangover going on for me. I'm sleepy, but I am also warm. It's still so hot in Arizona. I'm going to talk about some other warm house-related issues in a second. But first, how are you doing?
Yeah, as am I, Brad. It's great to see you. I am grateful today, man. Like you said, we made it through the first week of school. There was joy. There was exhaustion. There were memories. Memories were had already. Yeah, like you said, we're also in an extreme heat warning, I think, for the better part of this new week. But, you know, we're outside. We're inside. We're making it. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm waiting for the storms to hit us. We need rain in Marana. I don't know if you're listening right now, if you can make that happen, if you got some like cloud seeding stuff you could handle for us, that'd be really great because it's just going right around us, and I'd like some water here at some point. But I've got water in the house, Tyler, and I need to drain the hot water heater. This is something that I have learned is like we get the home maintenance, home warranty stuff, and it's just something I've just never thought of because I think before we had it part of a service package and they just come out and kind of do stuff. Didn't even have it on my radar that I should be draining my hot water heater. I don't know that it's ever been drained. This thing is probably going to be like at least a foot deep of sediment on the bottom of the tank. It's supposed to be drained every 6 months to a year, depending on how much, stuff you have in your water. If you have hard water, well water does different things. And we had a bit of a sulfury smell coming out of the faucet, and that's usually an indication of a bad anode. All of these things I'm learning. Now, if you're a plumber, help. So I got my water heater. We got the hot water line, the cold water line. Ours is electric, not gas. So we have the electric going in, and we have the spot where the anode rod goes. So tell me what the giant copper pipe is coming out of the top and going to my exterior wall that has nothing on the other side of it. It's either going into my wall and then going out somewhere, but like, what is happening? Why do I have two lines? Which one's out? Which one's in? I have no idea what's going on. Nothing's in the manual about this. It seems like they just carved a new hole for it. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I went to the in-laws yesterday and I was asking him, and he's like, well, no, it's for... No, that can't be it. Well, maybe it's... I don't think it's that either. And it was a lot of that, of just being totally mystified. I have absolutely no idea. Again, I can identify the hot water, the cold water, the electric, everything except for this random copper pipe. And I don't know what it's for. From the top to the wall, and he has it there too, same thing. So I'm wondering if it's like an Arizona building code thing. I just don't know what it's for. Totally mystified. I just want to not have to pay a service tech to come out when it's literally like unscrew a thing, take it out, replace the thing, turn the water off, turn the power off, and drain the thing. And flush it if you need to. I need to. So I don't know. It's starting to sound like I'm going to spend a couple $100 here, Tyler, but I don't want a new water tank because that's more than that. So
exactly. And the fact that it's not in the manual, going back to what you said earlier, is very disappointing.
Well, the other thing too is, okay, if you own a company and you got manuals and you got multiple products, can we stop making generic manuals for all of your products? I hate that so much. If I have Model 2B, I just want it for Model 2B. I don't want to have to turn the page for 2B and just guess if I have 2C, which has like an optional like tattoo on the side of it or something. Like, I just want to know what my thing is and just figure it out from there. It's like there are 3 pages of different models, and one of them looks very similar to mine but isn't. And it took me a minute. I had to like go on YouTube, and I watched a bunch of YouTube videos because people were going to go like, well, why don't you just watch YouTube? None of them have that copper pipe. All of them have what the setup is in that manual. So I'm still sitting here going, what's that? I don't know what that is. I'm afraid to do anything to it because I don't know what's going to happen if I take that off. Like, it shouldn't be this complicated, man.
Proceed with caution.
Yeah,
Shout out to Naomi. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I feel for you.
Well, yeah, you should feel for the water bill. Really, I'm a little worried about it because the more sediment in your tank, the less hot water it can hold. Obviously, it's going to fill up faster, and then there's just less water in there. So then we burn through it faster. The heater's on more. All of those things. Right now, the heater's probably not even on. It's if you don't live in Arizona, you don't know. Tyler, what's coming out of your cold water tap?
Yeah, that's you said it perfectly. It's different out here.
Yeah, it's just different.
It's just different.
It's like you have your hot water line and your other hot water line.
Yes.
And
Yes,
sometimes the cold water line is hotter than the hot water line, depending on the time of day, or if you haven't turned it on in a while, and then it comes in. We have to teach our kids not to drink water out of the garden hose out here, because you could burn your face off just for it sitting in the sun and baking, unless you run it for a while. So the idea that you could set up a sprinkler to cool off outside but accidentally give yourself second-degree burns is crazy. Arizona is just different, but February is going to be awesome, and it's still a great place. And I still love having my kid out here living in the Arizona desert, in the Arizona heat, enjoying the winter, and dance classes. I think it's time, Tyler, to play the music. It's time for Someday when you have kids.
And now it's time for
Someday.
Someday when you have kids.
Someday I can have kids.
Tyler, I love that Freya loves dance. I will not lie to you that there's a significant amount of guilt that I have, an unpredictable thing, but a significant amount of guilt for not being more involved with dance. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because the ballet class that Freya attends on Mondays is that it starts at like 4:30, 4:15. I, as you know, in Marana, getting from the high school when you have a 6-period class and the bell rings at 3:40, getting out of the parking lot with all your stuff, 4:05 is about the time, by the time the buses get out of there, when you can actually leave and not have to fight traffic on your way out. So 4:05 to pick her up, get her changed, get her in the car, get down to showbiz. That time's not going to work out. Now, Thursday was hip hop. She was super excited. I think very nervous because she was watching all these kids doing all these moves in hip hop, and so much of it is core strength and leg strength and upper body strength. It's a whole body workout, and she really wants to do all of those things. And I can tell when she does it that she's getting stronger, and she really likes just trying stuff. She's like, check it out, I learned this. And then she hit a move on the floor, and I was like, okay, this is gonna go well. She's already really liking this. But Tyler, the repetition for an 8-year-old learning a new physical thing, you are going to see it 1 million times, and you are going to have to tell them you gotta stop before you break your face. Someday, when you have kids, you're going to experience firsthand this, look what I can do, look what I can do. And they will do it so often that they don't know yet what their physical limits are. And watching her hit the star pose and do all these things, and like, I'm going to try this headstand or handstand, she's trying to do it. Eventually, the arms gave out. The core gave out, and it's just a lot of smacking into stuff, landing on the dog, like just absolutely wild. Everybody's getting taken out in the living room. She's got these stretchy bands, and they've been like used like nunchucks repeatedly. It's just, it's carnage. It is madness. It is wonderful. It is so fun to watch her be interested in something and be excited to do that with other people and to learn how to perform. How can you hate something like that? I'm stoked for you to experience that firsthand someday when you have kids.
Our favorite third grader, man. She's just the best.
Third it's crazy.
How
I
does
still
that
think
feel?
about that. Well, I still think about that picture with the Fiend mask, and
You know, I have it up. Yes, it's on the wall.
and that was at MHS during the hybrid days, and now she's in third grade, and I can't believe that it was that long ago, and that she's 8, and all of those things. It feels very strange. She's loving her class so far. She comes home excited with homework. When she stays at Leap, she does her homework. She does her stuff, and then she comes home like, yeah, I had homework, did it. No problem. Like, it's been awesome so far.
She says, that's
because
light
she
work,
knows,
Dad. I got this.
Yeah, because she
I'm a
knows
scholar.
if she stays at Leap, she's like, I'm there anyway. I got homework. I may as well get it done while I have this time. And she just does it. She buckles down and does it so she can play. She gets home and she has her whole night to herself. It's really, really cool. So we've had a ton of fun this year just watching her come home and be like, I did all my work. I have nothing left. And it's pretty dope. It also important when you also have dance on 2 days out of the week. Shout out to all the dance parents. I don't want to say dance moms. I know there's some dance dads that show up at those things too. I've been told I'm not one of them, but I've been told that dance dads do exist, and that it's a grind for those people that are in multiple classes or are, shout out to Amy and Harper. We're there for 12 hours out of the week doing dance. It's a big commitment, and you also have to have fun, and you also have to have school, and you also have to have life all around those things. So I'm glad she's a part of something. I think it's important to learn to work with a group and work with others, especially if you're an only child, to just be involved where there's other kids around and not just the parents all the time. I'm not saying we're not fun, I guess. I wouldn't want to be around me all the time either. I guess I'll put it that way. But Tyler, dance is expensive, and we know something else that's going to get expensive. So it's time to get into it. Hit me with your WWE question.
Yeah, we got to talk about it. So WWE announced a partnership with ESPN for its premium live events starting in 2026. And I'm quoting Yahoo Entertainment here. Of course, these are previously known as pay-per-views, but now WWE includes them in its streaming deals. Okay, Brad, the deal is worth an average of $325 million annually for 5 years, totaling $1.6 billion over the life of the agreement. Of course, we know, Brad, previously these events would air on Peacock. Yep. This is a significant shift for WWE and ESPN, as ESPN has traditionally focused its major event coverage for, quote, according to the Yahoo article, quote-unquote, real sports like the NFL, whereas WWE, this sport, this entertainment that we love, it is scripted entertainment. So, Brad, final point here. You alluded to it. What does this mean for us and our audience? If you're a Peacock subscriber like Brad and I, you're used to watching WWE on that app. However, we, in 2026, heading into WrestleMania in particular, will need to shift to ESPN's $29.99 per month service, which is more than we are paying on Peacock currently. Brad, I'm going to pause here. What do you make of this deal?
What's funny is that we talked in the production meeting. I wrote, we have to talk about the deal. Tyler, what do you make of this thing? So I'm glad we talked about how we were definitely going to discuss this for WWE today. Tyler, I think it's a good move for the business of WWE and TKO Sports. TKO obviously already in agreement with ESPN for UFC, so it was a pretty natural shift to include all their brands. And now that company, conglomerate, whatever we call them, now they have this huge deal. But we can't offset this. I wonder when it took place or was finalized, before or after the NFL Network acquisition with Red Zone going to ESPN, with the NFL having a 10% ownership stake in ESPN as part of the deal. So now we have the NFL partial owners of ESPN, TKO partners with ESPN, which... what are we going to see this NFL season now that by like a transitive property, I guess, we indirectly connect WWE to the NFL? And are we going to see more crossover on NFL platforms and games on ESPN specifically? Or not specifically. I'm not sure how that will work. Will we see, my guess is that there's going to be advertising for the NFL playoffs a lot on the WWE products, even though they won't be on necessarily those platforms. Or NFL will get into a sponsorship agreement for WWE or vice versa. I could totally see that happening because they're now sort of part of the same parent company in terms of those PLEs and the NFL having ownership. So I'm really curious to see where this goes. The second part is the $29.99. I wonder what will happen there because people are paying premiums for sports. We know this for you because your service is your internet service is Cox, correct?
Correct.
Cox, get your crap together. Give my man some bandwidth. That's number one. Number two, because you have Cox, you don't have what I have. I don't have Peacock. I got Freecock. Okay, so I'm not paying for the WWE. Yes, I said Freecock. I'm not paying for WWE at all for the PLEs because I have the ad free for like a year or whatever it is, or not the ad free. It's like their tiers are like with ads, no PLEs, and then PLEs but with ads, and then everything ad free. I have the middle one, so I have to watch the commercials instead of just watching the same promo videos over and over and over again. So whatever. I'm not losing anything there. I just hate it if I want to watch old episodes of anything on there. I got to watch all the ads, but I digress. To go from paying nothing to adding $29.99. And of course, many of you are probably thinking, well, I can bundle it, right? Like I have Disney Plus and Hulu, and I have the ESPN package, and it's like with ads, it's cheaper. Without ads, ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus is $26.99 right now. I know that because I added ESPN thinking I'd get ahead of it because I want NFL Network stuff. I would like to get Red Zone. I got rid of my cable, so I don't have anything. No ability to watch an NFL game right now, which will be different from last year. But when my cable box died during the holidays, I was like, I'm not even missing it. We were talking about that yesterday, actually. Well, anyway, $26.99 is not what you're going to be paying. The $29.99 will be added into that bundle. That $26.99 will become $46.99 a month. So you'll be paying almost $50 for ESPN, Hulu, and Disney, where right now you're just paying north of half of that. And, well, I guess not half. It'd be under half, but it's like $20 more to have what you currently have. And I just feel like that's criminal behavior. Because they're limiting the options there to how you access those services and that content. And I understand they need to make money, but $29.99 is crazy. So I have a feeling that they're going to change that model as we get closer and be like, if you bundle all these services together, like cable, if you bundle all these services together, the cost will come down. Because the WWE is in a fascinating place right now. It's never been really bigger, but it's also been like just the vibes are a little different. They're not as positive as they were a year ago. It's been like, oh, this is really fun, but it doesn't seem like this is it, right? Like it's just Brock Lesnar split everybody with his return. I don't think we even got to talk about that yet because last weekend was night 2 after we recorded. You and I both heard that. All I could think was, okay, all right. Guess that lawsuit's done. There's so many questions that I have regarding those things. I think the fans are sort of split with how they feel about the product, about how they feel about the way the product is presented and whether or not it represents who they are and what they believe in. I just think the acquisition of those things by ESPN also lets everybody else know where Disney stands on all these certain views. I wonder how happy they are about this, given their breaks about, with Johnny Depp and the Pirates franchise and, the way he was dropped from the Harry Potter prequel series as the big bad in those movies. Mm-hmm. just because of the allegations that came out, and then it went to trial and all of that. I wonder how this stuff will change with the mouse essentially being the overseer of that. And what's the crossover with Disney? Are we going to see Elsa get Bailey to bellied somewhere? Like, I don't know.
And to your point, Brad, this is also coming off the heels of ESPN parting ways with Shannon Sharp, one of their most popular personalities of the past few years. And granted, the accusations against him different than Brock Lesnar, but still under the umbrella of famous, powerful men just, allegedly doing unsavory things. Yeah, it's a fascinating time for ESPN as a media company and for WWE as well, when in the case of Brock Lesnar, as you brought up, I don't know that they needed to bring him back. We've seen famous names from the past brought in when WWE creatively was at a point where they needed something to really juice up the weekly programming. But and to your point, creatively, I don't know if you could say WWE is at the peak of where it was at a year ago, but also with John Cena turning back to being a good guy, I think it really rejuvenated some of the fan base. Okay, Cody's back on top as a good guy. John Cena's a good guy. We have arguably the most talented roster in the history of WWE. Bringing back Lesnar just seemed, I'm tempted to say, an unforced error, but at the same time, you heard that reaction from the crowd in Jersey. People lost their minds for him. Mm-hmm. So, business-wise, it's probably going to work out well for them, but it just feels icky to me.
I don't think it's as necessarily. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. If we think it's time for you to come home.
Right.
Messages.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Those messages, as long as they're legit, I guess I can trust them. But I think that this is probably a Cena ask to go.
Which
hey,
is
I
what
want to
Triple
have.
H. Yeah, which is what Triple H said as Paul Levesque, the
right.
COO
Like
of the
that,
company.
he wants to have that huge rivalry that has spanned a decade plus. Have finally put a period at the end of that sentence before John Cena hangs it up, and I get that.
It just so happens there are no post-show press conferences anymore. The same weekend that Brock Lesnar comes back, it's just
and all the other stuff too, all the White House stuff, like the fitness stuff, like all of that.
The fitness council.
Brock Lesnar coming back. I think all of those things were like, probably shouldn't get in front of a public panel. Probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then wondering if the Karrion Kross stuff is a work or not. I will say I think it's a work, but only because of the way that Paul Heyman talked about it with Ariel Helwani this week. It's working, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah, it's like it's working. So I just feel like him saying it like that, where it's like people are getting mad that he doesn't have his spot and that he's fighting for it and all that stuff. And Heyman brought up, well, if he had the Intercontinental title, do you think he'd be getting these reactions right now? It's like, well, probably not. It's like, right, it's working. What we're doing is working. So, and it's organic. So I think that's probably a work. But I also think, like, number one, as an English teacher, that English teachers and other people that are kind of like us can overthink some things. And overanalyze some things and look into it and go like, what do these blue curtains represent? When it's like they're just blue curtains.
What's the symbolism of of those blue curtains?
So we're like, is this a work? Is this real?
Right.
What if he's playing it like it's a work, but it's not a work? And we're just like round and round and round. I just feel like they laid this one pretty bare. Not the cross stuff, but the... it's just really good to be with the fans and just sit with you and have a conversation. I love it. And it's like, or avoid reporters, whatever. Call it what you want, I guess. Avoid reporters is probably more likely what's going on there. My guess is that maybe it's because I didn't hear anything leading up to this, but there were probably like rumors out there. And TKO might have been like cautious more about the merger than about Brock or about the deal, in case they get asked about a deal and they're legally not allowed to say anything until it's finalized. I'm not sure when all of that went down. So, it's like when people have a project and they sign an NDA There could have been some of that, and maybe they just said, let's just not even put people in a position to answer that question. So who knows? That's why I'm saying, like, maybe we're just reading into this too much. But
sure, and Shannon Sharp, to clarify in case our audience isn't in the know here, Shannon Sharp allegedly committing sexual assault against a previous girlfriend. They settled, then ESPN dropped him. Brock Lesnar allegedly taking part in a sex trafficking situation ring organized by Vince McMahon and some of his flunkies. And that, to my knowledge, Brad, as of this recording, there's been no decisive conclusion to that case or to the allegations of Brock Lesnar being mentioned, multiple times in said lawsuit from Janelle Grant, former employee of WWE. This is all coming off the heels of Hulk Hogan passing away and WWE. I mean, how many times during SummerSlam did we see tributes for Hulk Hogan? It was very much being laid on thick. And then, as you pointed out, Brad, the close connection to the White House and how that is being shown to us on social media and during programming, seemingly ad nauseum. It's really the abundance of all of these decisions that it's a reminder that WWE is definitely in a new era. Yeah, maybe an error. With TKO, business as good as ever. But that's
kind of Freudian slip.
Exactly, very much so. You are and have been essentially locking arms with the UFC, which is led by Dana White. Also, not necessarily a beacon of, one may say, morality and
gets on film slapping his wife and then runs a show called Slap Fight and gets to continue just doing whatever.
Absolutely awful. Yeah, 100%. Thank you. So it shouldn't be surprising, I guess, but for this to the crescendo, the finishing point here to be they landed a deal with ESPN, big money, much more fiscally attractive than the deal they had with Peacock. I would say if there's a best case scenario for this that I'm feeling, it really is another example that professional wrestling is as mainstream as it's ever been before. The teenager in me who felt shy about my love for wrestling and kind of hid it when I would go to school, feels really excited that, man, now you're in partnership with ESPN, the worldwide leader. This is a sign that wrestling is cool. It has been cool, and there are millions of new fans over the last few years. And we've spoken at length on air, Brad, about you getting back into wrestling and, me really doubling down on, I think I'm more passionate about this than I was when, I was 12 years old. It's the greatest. It's really come leaps and bounds from when I was younger and, again, felt like I had to shed my love for it. Now you sign a big money deal with ESPN and you're not presenting it as a sport per se. We even see that on Netflix's Unreal. I've caught a few episodes from that. It's clearly scripted. Everyone knows that. But as you and I point out every single week on here, the athleticism, the storytelling, it's just, there's nothing like it. It's the greatest.
And I think they've been in a partnership with them for a long time, ESPN and WWE, pronouns pal. I think it's at least the 5th year, maybe 6th, that they've been in a partnership with them for the ESPYs. But because they're like Wrestling Moment, but then they exclude every company that's not WWE.
Right.
And it's like,
yes,
there's better moments on like 4 different platforms. What are we talking about?
And they have guest appearances on First Take all the time, promoting WrestleMania and Royal Rumble.
And McAfee,
Roman
obviously.
Reigns, of course, the Pat McAfee of it all. Yes.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing too, because McAfee is ESPN, not ESPN. He's still allowed to do his own thing, and I think it's really interesting seeing these media companies pick up rights. Who was it? I think it's Fox. I'm pretty sure Fox picked up Barstool. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but not all of it, right? Like it's like part of it. So Portnoy and his college football thing got picked up. So it's rather than trying to develop some new show and hoping it catches on, just paying some shows or platforms that already have a huge following.
Right.
Very much the same way that the WWE is like, yeah, we will do stuff with Logan Paul because he's already got a giant following and a huge platform. So, and he's really, really good in the ring. So it's an easy transition to go like, he's excellent at this. If he did it full time, he'd be probably one of the best ever to do it. It hurts me to say that a little bit,
but
but
Jelly Roll was tremendous. I can't even hate on that. That was cool.
So like, as long as I can separate what I know and then some of the other stuff from like what he does in the ring, art from artist. I don't mind watching it at all. It's really hard doing it for me though. It gets harder as time goes on when people blur the lines between the two or blend the lines between the two, so there's no more line. That part I really struggle with, and I think, you know, now that we're going to have even more access and a larger audience, maybe. I think the idea is to help ESPN, not for ESPN to help the WWE, because ESPN's struggling. I know Disney reportedly had been shopping around for a while for buyers or investors for ESPN because it's just not what it used to be. Tyler, when's the last time you watched SportsCenter?
Exactly. Around the Horn wrapped up recently. We spoke about that on air.
Yeah, I can't believe they wouldn't let him get to the milestone. I think
Right.
that it was like 5,000. I think they were at like 4,900 something. It's like just
I don't think
why?
I realized that. ESPN, it just
this reality's awesome.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Shout out Stat Boy. ESPN societally is in a very different position than it was years ago. Like you said, when you and I would tune in for, you remember when you had to watch SportsCenter for highlights?
It was sit down appointment viewing.
Yes, but then YouTube is introduced, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok. As consumers, the landscape is completely different, and we have so many options, quicker options, where we don't have to wait until 6 o'clock for SportsCenter. I can pull up any of those apps and find what I'm looking for and get it personalized. And with, as you said, with Around the Horn wrapping up one of the flagship shows, PTI is still on, but for
They'll
sports
just let
fans,
them retire out, I'm sure,
For
because
sure.
they've been doing it for 40 years, I feel like. Or at least 30. Or close to. Yeah.
It sure feels that way. Those used to be must-see as sports fans. I remember coming home from school in high school and watching that with my dad. We would go Rome is Burning, Around the Horn.
Jim Rome was burning.
PTI.
That's right.
Yeah, you know it. This was required viewing if you were of a certain age, and now it's completely different. So how does ESPN sort of maneuver and become profitable in the way perhaps that they were years and years ago? And Brad, we see this with a lot of networks, as you pointed out. It really is the live event business, particularly live sports. Netflix is doubling down on that. We have Canelo Alvarez v. Bud Crawford coming up soon. Actually, next month. That's going to be massive. You have Raw on Netflix. You have the move is clearly where are the eyeballs, where is the money. It's live entertainment and particularly live sports. And this ESPN deal with WWE proves that once again.
First episode of PTI aired in 2001, in October of 2001. So they're approaching their 24th anniversary. Next year will be 25. And if they hang it up after that, great. They changed the landscape. They're the reason we have like this sports talk format. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that debate format at all.
No.
And that then translated the way that the news is presented by having debate panels on news. So
and you mentioned the NFL as well. Big get for ESPN. What is going to
an extra game a week?
Exactly.
What happens to Scott Hansen?
What is going to survive the robot apocalypse that is definitely forthcoming in years? Football. We love football. If you have
robots are going to play it though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you have access to live football, if you can get that on your network or on your app, you're probably going to be just fine. Netflix, ESPN doubling down on getting additional NFL properties. It's something to track for sure. I'm really eager to see how ESPN not only finishes this year, but moves into 2026 and maybe regains some of that cachet that it had 10 years ago when you and I were watching their programs several times a week.
Properties and games. They're getting the network, but they're also, I'm sure with the network comes like a whole bunch of archival stuff. NFL films will probably be available on the app. I love watching those old, like, who was the person? It was, I'm like, there's the NFL films guy that everybody knows that hosted it. And then his dad was like the OG NFL films person. And he worked with the composer that made like all of the famous football songs, right? Like they're all like John Philip Sousa marching band style songs, but that like, I love that stuff. Oh, I hope we can get that. I love those things. So I'm really hoping that there's some cool stuff on there that will entice me to pay $29.99 because I don't think I can do it for PLEs. I say that knowing full well that I'm about to drop $50 on Forbidden Door later this month, and on the Sunday the 24th. So I'm sad it's on a Sunday now that the school year has started. Tyler, we need these Saturday PLEs and pay-per-views, but I am excited for it. Really interested, and hopefully soon we will have more specific information for you if we can make our schedules line up for something we have planned in the future on this here podcast. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see if we get more information coming soon, because I believe the move for NFL is this month, and they wanted to start doing it right away. I wanted to say it was like August 25th, which puts that on a Monday. So we'll see. That's Monday Night Football. Makes sense that it would be then that they would do like a reveal and things like that. But Tyler, we got to move on. I have so many more questions and thoughts about this, but it'll have to wait. For now, I got questions because I don't even know what movie this is. So we're going to play the music right now. It's time for GI at the Movies. Cue it up.
And now, it's time for GI at the Movies.
No fear. I got you. The Pickup is Amazon Prime's latest big budget film.
There we go. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I know this movie. Got it.
I know you do. Maybe our audience is having that
We
same reaction.
previewed this one.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Thank you, Emily Olero-Jones of the Female Driven Podcast, for joining us for our summer blockbuster preview.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's out. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's here. The formula is familiar. There's an interesting plot, I would say. Prestige actors, and there's been heavy promotion on social for this film. It stars Eddie Murphy, Pete Davidson, Eva Longoria, who actually plays Eddie Murphy's wife, which is interesting. Love both of them, particularly the latter. Keke Palmer, Roman Reigns. There is a wrestling element to this. Roman Reigns has a cameo as a prize fighter, a boxer more specifically. And if you go to the bathroom, you're possibly missing his scene. He's only in it for a few minutes, but you got to start somewhere. And as he slows down his in-ring schedule, obviously he is not only carved out of stone, but is one would think clearly has Hollywood ambitions. I think he's even said as much. And I think, who knows, maybe we'll look back on this film as being a starting point for him, along with his cameo in a previous Fast and Furious movie. I know one of your favorite franchises, but
my favorite.
We'll save that for a separate episode. Now, for The Pickup, a little bit about the plot. Again, it just came out. It's a heist action comedy film. It's produced and directed by Tim Story, so a familiar name there. And it is about this heist gone wrong, if you will. There's a huge amount of comedy in it. There are action scenes as well. So it really does have its feet in both of those waters, if you will. I will confess, I did enjoy it more than Happy Gilmore 2, but that doesn't mean the film was good at all. And I love Keke Palmer, huge Eva Longoria fan, and particularly Keke really did her thing. She is in a lot of scenes, and without giving any spoilers, her character is very dynamic. We see her from the very beginning, and it's one of those openers where within the first 5 minutes you think, okay, there's something to this character. I wonder what's going to happen here, and her character is very dynamic in that regard. I don't really get the aura of Pete Davidson. This is clearly a big look for him. Mm-hmm. Eddie Murphy being back on screen makes me happy. And I'll conclude with this. The film is not offensive, but it's the standard fare streaming action film. There are some laughs, there are surprises, there are character turns, and villains with questionable neck tattoos. So if you are into any or all of that, you should check out The Pickup. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I did not have to go to the theater to pay to see this film.
Sure.
But it's enjoyable. You can turn it on and do some stuff, move around, and have it in the background. An upgrade from Happy Gilmore 2. But it has under 30% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. So you decide as you will. Let us know what you think at GIPod19 in the comments here on YouTube. When you see The Pickup, let us know your review. We're curious.
It's unfortunate. I used to tell my AP Psych kids, this is one of the easier AP classes. Hear what I'm saying. It's one of the easier, really difficult things. Not easy. And you going like, this is reminded me of it when you're like, this is better than that bad movie, but it doesn't mean it's good. It is the better bad thing is the opposite of what I was. Yeah.
Yes.
So
exactly right.
that's really unfortunate. But it's like what's your favorite Sharknado movie? Like it's,
right. And it leads into the absurdity of it all, much like Happy Gilmore 2 does. So
Sure.
You and I speak about this all the time with films, Brad. Expectation setting is important. I did not go into this film thinking it was going to be on awards lists later this year.
Of course not.
It's enjoyable, happy for Roman Reigns, and that cast is actually pretty stellar. So let us know what you think. GI Pod 19. I didn't love it. It was entertaining. My dad actually really enjoyed it. So shout out to Pops. I don't think my mom has seen it yet, but the cast is, like I said, is sensational. And if you're into questionable villain tattoos and a few laughs and lots of items being blown up, this may be the film for you.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would get a neck tattoo.
Not our
Certainly.
WWE champion.
Not champion
company.
material. That's
It's
not
really
champion
worked out
material.
That's actually, I should have.
It's crazy.
I should have zagged on that back in the day when I forget. I think maybe it was like Double or Nothing against Anthony Ogogo. I want to say fighting for the pride of the U.S. is when, and I think it was in Daly's place. Cody debuted that neck tattoo, and it was so jarring, but it's worked wonders for him. He's selling merch with that. It's like a walking advertisement for himself. I should have zagged back in the day. If only I knew.
Very, very along the lines of the Brahma Bull, right? Like or the Rock's original goofy cartoon looking tattoo before he got it covered up, where it's like raising the eyebrow and stuff.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That one, but it wasn't quite like that, but it was very similar to that one. And now he has more like the Under Armour one is on his arm, I think. But yeah, you have that thing that identifies you, and I don't think Stone Cold has a tattoo, but I can't think of anybody more synonymous with a symbol.
The skull?
Than that skull.
Yes.
Yeah, the flaming skull. But Undertaker's logo is there too, and I don't think Undertaker has that tattooed on him. He's got tattoos, so I don't know. Very interesting. But yeah, Cody's, because I think it's like that's the one that's just, you're not missing it. Even he was like, I thought it would be a lot smaller, and it was like just his whole neck.
Yeah, I thought, he's definitely going to get this covered up. And
yeah, crazy.
It's worked out really well for him. He's
sure
arguably the biggest star in this entire industry. Good for him.
The only person that could hide a tattoo like that would be Christian Cage. So Tyler, we got to get into AEW talk, speaking of, so hit me with your question.
Great transition. So earlier this year, we discussed the roster members AEW was heavily promoting as a transition to HBO Max. We discussed Jon Moxley, Mercedes Moné, Swerve Strickland, and Will Ospreay, and we continue to do so on the show every single Monday. The other name we focused on was MJF. He defeated Mark Briscoe on last week's Dynamite. He also holds the Casino Gauntlet contract, ensuring him the ability to challenge the AEW World Heavyweight Champion at a time of his choosing. I believe it's still unclear if it's Money in the Bank rules or if it's going to be an announced scheduled match ahead of time. Regardless, the current champ, of course, is Hangman Adam Page. Now, MJF was also recently booted out of the Hurt Syndicate. Brad, what do you make of where MJF is at creatively, and should he be the guy to dethrone Hangman?
It's really messy creatively. It's really, really messy. I mean, I was thinking about it because of the backstage stuff where he gets the third thumbs down, and then there's all the stuff about the Hurt Syndicate potentially having heat in the locker room, and more so with MVP. But the way that things are being presented about what's going on back there, I don't know, kind of seems like MVP knows what he's talking about. Like they should be dominating people because that gives the people like that actually finally overcome them. Like that's going to mean something. But anyway, what would he know? He's only been doing this for like 20 years. All of that is super interesting, and I don't think there's any heat with Max and anything like that. But I do like his physical presentation. I like what he's wearing. His gear has been really cool. The stuff he's been wearing in the backs is great. And he seems to be more like day one MJF. He's just really good at being a bad guy and tearing people down. Like the stuff he said about Briscoe was vile. And it still also wasn't like, oh, he's going to be in the news for that one. You know, it was like towing that line. And I thought he's been doing a great job with the promo work. He's excellent in ring. if he is the person to dethrone Hangman, it's not yet. You know, it's just like I don't feel that right way. You could pull the trigger on that at any point, but I think it's gonna. I feel like that contract that he has at some point is going to be taken by MVP or Lashley or Benjamin or all three, because what's more business than a contract? So I could see the Hurt Syndicate taking that off his hands and him finishing the feud with them, because he just got kicked out and that's just done. Like, I feel like that has to go somewhere. So I feel like that's probably next. Is he a good person to have be someone that Hangman feuds with? Yeah. I also think he needs to lose. I think Hangman needs to hang on to it for a while. So I don't know. I don't know who that first person is. I don't know if it'll be then, but I feel like that Max and Hurt Syndicate can't be over, or it'll be incredibly disappointing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure who the other option is right now for Hangman.
Right. It's been a strange summer for MJF. When you and I first saw him paired with the Hurt Syndicate, we had so many questions, and we still do. Mm-hmm. And I lean toward what you said about this can't be it. It seemed like it ended so abruptly. And I thought, okay, there has to be a plan if they're going to put MJF with these three guys. Yes, it's giving us Owen Hart nostalgia, and there's something to be said for that. The MJF wearing the MVP like gear is funny. Yeah. And you and I were in the building for Double or Nothing when all these guys were together, and MJF is just being the great character he is, and it's fun to watch when he really puts it on 11. But I have questions. It seems like it's a let it play out, pal situation, I suppose. Yeah. The Mark Briscoe rivalry, I thought it had been built well to main event Dynamite. Again, Mark Briscoe is seemingly getting the most reps out of anyone on the roster week in and week out for AEW, which I'm happy for him. I would argue there's other members of the roster that should be getting some additional screen time, particularly on Dynamite every week, and that's really valuable real estate that Mark Briscoe has had for a long time now. Yeah. MJF with Hurt Syndicate, MJF versus Mark Briscoe, and now this third element of his character chasing Hangman Page, which AEW has planted the seeds for going back all the way to Revolution. Speaking of us being in the building, you remember when we saw Dynamite in February when MJF and Hangman opened the show and had that promo doing Hangman ends up beating him. Mm-hmm. So one would think MJF gets the win back, but is this going to be the Forbidden Door match? Right. I'm getting all out Toronto vibes in September, but like you, the Hangman redemption story, I think it deserves a lengthy title run. I don't know that MJF is going to beat him at the latest, again, at that September show. Who's next for Hangman? Bobby Lashley is always a viable contender. Right. If Wardlow ever comes back, I saw a Fightful Select report confirming that he's healthy, and he apparently wrapped up filming for Amazon's American Gladiators reboot. Whenever Wardlow comes back, he is certainly a challenger, especially if they present him as a heel. That could slot right in. There's probably tons of people I'm forgetting, Brad. Again, let us know at GFPod19. Comments here on YouTube. But MJF, I'm glad that he has had creative, because to me, he's as important as any member of the AEW roster. I just have questions about what we're doing with the Hurt Syndicate. I suspect this feud with Mark Briscoe isn't over. And then what does all of this mean as he pursues Hangman Adam Page? And if you and I are correct and he loses to Hangman Page, what happens then? I suspect it's going to be him going back to this Hurt Syndicate storyline in some way. But I have questions. I'm just glad he has not been forgotten about, because we speak about all the people we love on this roster, the men's division, the women's division. MJF, to me, going back to our conversation in January about the HBO Max advertisement, MJF to me is as important a character as anyone. He's homegrown, he's day one, and he checks all the boxes.
I think this Hangman storyline too has been, let's not forget, because it does feel like he's just sort of, I don't know, for some reason it feels like it's disconnected, but if you've been paying attention, they've been teasing this matchup for months. Right. And like going before him winning the contract, even talking about how, like, I don't care who's there, Hangman, and him talking to Hangman, and like they've been really, really feeding this story. And I think people will go critical on AEW for not having storylines when they've had incredible storylines with amazing in-ring action this entire year. And it's been amazing.
And there's
like,
something
I don't even have the words.
There's something to be said for having two of your day one guys.
Yeah,
the roster is incredible. Mox has had the throne for a long time. I think that's, to me as a fan, as a day one, there's something really cool about MJF versus Hangman. They were there from the very beginning, and here they are now. And of course, Swerve is feuding with Okada, but you can insert Swerve to face either of these two guys if they're champ. It's interesting.
That Death Rider Mox hit this week is why I started smiling. That was on Dynamite. That was great. But
Mox
my
v
question,
Darby at Forbidden Door. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be good. Poor Wheeler coming out of a body bag with a sign stapled to his face. It
was a tough week for Willie Uda.
Yeah, it sure was. Tyler, my question is related. So the AEW numbers for Dynamite this week were up by about 100,000. There was a 0.18, I want to say, in the demo, without Jericho, so not Demo God. Do you attribute the number rise to the returning Mercedes Moné, to MJF and his exposure in Happy Gilmore, or to some other factor? Because this is a weird time of the year when people have more time on their hands.
Right.
They tend not to watch.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. And this card, to me, didn't scream, oh, this is must-see as compared to any other weeks.
Oh, that tag match, though. Holy bleep.
You beat me to it. It turned out to be a really fun show. If people weren't tuned in to watch that tag match, I hope they saw that brilliance. And if you've not seen
all-timer, man.
Go back and check out Dynamite. I couldn't agree with you more, Brad. It gave me vibes of, this was early Collision days when you had... 100%. The Bang Bang Gang versus FTR.
Exactly what I was thinking, man.
But it was a completely different match structurally.
Best out of three. Yeah, totally.
Brody King Bandito versus the Young Bucks. It was fantastic. It was pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of the best matches I've seen.
It's one of the best
TV
matches
ever.
I've seen all year.
Yeah.
Was it Mercedes coming back? Certainly could be. Was it the MJF rub from Happy Gilmore? I would say that's probably more likely because obviously Happy Gilmore 2 was uber successful for Netflix. And the card just ended up being fantastic, Brad. I suspect, too, if people tuned in for either of those two reasons, they probably stayed when they saw some really great in-ring action, and particularly having that tag team match. I want to say that was at the middle point of the show. It reminded me why I love wrestling. It was fantastic. I would say the MJF rub from Happy Gilmore 2 probably more likely than Mercedes, but we can't forget the Mercedes Moné fan base is substantial. She brings people with her, and this obviously was her first time back on television since losing to Toni Storm at All In.
I wonder if there's I can't remember when it releases. I wanted to say it was this year, but I think it's next year. There's a movie called Grogu and the Mandalorian, or maybe the other way around, and it's the Mandalorian. But they're not. I don't think they're doing another season. I think they're putting the period at the end of that sentence. I like using that phrase, apparently. As a film that will go to theaters, I wonder if they have or will bring her back for her character in The Mandalorian. Because I know it's kind of the same thing. Her range extends beyond just, the wrestling ring, because she's been in other projects, and people might know her from her versus Bianca, back to the ESPYs talk we had earlier. There's a lot of places you can know her from. But I think you're right. I think it's MJF. I think it's all the interviews that I think it was with Van Vliet with the Happy Gilmore media tour, asking about working with MJF, and Adam Sandler saying he's like a son to me, and he is the son in the show. But like, who knows if he's joking around? But I think they are really close. I think that's probably what got the eyes on the product this week. But that's the point of allowing your talent to go do other things. Who knows? Maybe because Twisted Metal came out on Peacock, maybe people were like, oh, that's Samoa Joe behind that mask. Cool, I'm going to go check that out. Who knows? But I'm just pumped about it. I think it's really cool. And that's the demo from the cable viewership. I don't think they released numbers from streaming. So that's on top of or in addition to whatever happened with streaming. And maybe people just don't want to put up with it. They need to update the streaming, my friend. I don't always get to check Collision live, and they don't have the replay up.
I ran into that yesterday as well. I
I
caught up until the Ricochet Juice Robinson match. So happy for Ricochet and Gates of Agony. Speaking of people doing the best work of their career, Ricochet,
man.
loving
On
all
fire.
of it. On fire. I stopped watching. There was also the Valkyrie Sparks game, and there was something else that caught my attention. And I went back to Max to check out the end of Collision. And like you, I thought I was tripping, Brad. It wasn't available for me.
It wasn't there this morning either.
I was in my big feelings.
I was like, it's been like half a day. Where is it? Put it up there. This is crazy. Usually you can go on like Peacock. The event will end, and like an hour later you can do the replay.
Yeah, we don't ask
yeah.
for much.
Come on, Max. You can't put the HBO back there. You haven't earned it.
Max on Max. Yep.
Okay. Tyler, what did we miss?
Yeah, you know how we close every episode. Quick list for you, Brad. First, hip to the games. H2DG, you had to be their series.
Good guest star this week.
That's what I'm hearing. Much love to host Desmond Powell, our fellow 19 Media Group teammate. I had the honor of joining him on his show to relive the career of Phoenix Mercury legend Michelle Timms. Again, check out Desmond, check out Hip to the Games. I was honored to join him, and we had a really, really fun talk. He's so great at this, Brad. I told him this off air.
So good.
He is just the best of us. Period. Fun episode. Okay, WWE Raw returns to Glendale on December 1st at Desert Diamond Arena. Brad, I don't know how people have money to attend all of these shows.
So many events.
But you know the service we provide to our viewers, especially our audience members who, like us, are here in Arizona. Again, that's on December 1st. Tickets go on sale this Friday. 2 final wrestling notes, and I want to kick it to you. Sending all of our best wishes and prayers and healing vibes to Jonathan Gresham. He posted on social media this week that he suffered 2 strokes and is recovering and is taking a break for, I think, the next couple months. To focus on his health. He's obviously
saw the Jordan Grace thing where he's already asking if he can go back and wrestle.
Right, of course. Partner of Jordan Grace and of NXT fame. Jonathan Gresham, I'm actually quite sad that his Dark Octopus character in TNA didn't have as many legs, pun intended, legs as I thought it would.
Because I was really only like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it was like out of a Jordan Peele movie. It was really intriguing, but the work he's done on Ashe, the work he's done in GCW, obviously he was ROH World Champ for a minute. One of my favorite wrestlers anywhere on the globe, and we are thinking of him. And then finally, Nikki Bella. That's it. That's the tweet. What did we miss, Brad?
Thank you. I was just... We talked about making sure that we included Nikki Bella. That was enough said. This week, Alyssa Thomas set a WNBA record for the most triple doubles in history.
Let's go, Phoenix Mercury. I didn't believe in you.
19. With 19. On top of having, I believe, several other records recently too, and as a team, which is really dope. And the NFL kicked off action. One of the things I wanted to ask about was why are there so many injuries and concussions and like. I don't know if you saw, I can't even remember the player's name. Just hope he's okay. I haven't seen any updates that plays on the Lions where they ran out the last 6 minutes because his head snapped back and he immediately went into a seizure in fencing position. Really, really bad scene. And they disagreed like nobody's going to be able to play after this. So let's just run the clock. I can't figure out why there's so many there with the protection, but like you never hear about this happening in rugby, where they're essentially doing a lot of the same things. I know it's a totally different sport. I just feel like having the helmet makes you feel more protected, which probably leaves you more open for injury. And when you're 300 pounds running at 29 miles an hour because you got a V8 inside of your chest, like it's a scary thing when people collide like that. I was really excited about the NFL starting again, and then I was watching preseason football and just going, oh my gosh, this is going so slow. There's so many penalties and reviews and injuries and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. But the NFL did start up, and people are going to be fed through January now. And I'm sure people are already making their predictions about who won the Super Bowl, about how Aaron Rodgers will do in Pittsburgh of all places. going to be an interesting season, see how it plays out. But it staggered me already how many people are injured right out the gate. And I just want to see people be healthy and watch a show where I don't have to worry if somebody's going to die, even though we watch wrestling and we know that's always a risk. I'd like to remove that risk out of my viewing experience as much as humanly possible. And I just want people to have long-term health.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Well, we thank you all for joining us. Brad, we're heading into week 2 of the school year. Let's get it. We got this. If your school year is starting, if you know someone who is in school or teaching or all that, we just hope all of you are doing well out there. Again, please be sure to follow us for exclusive show updates and much more across the social spaces at GIPod19. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.